Have you ever stopped to think about how many of your daily decisions are truly made by you? What makes you choose one path over another, or repeat behavioral patterns that you don't even like? What if I told you that most of your actions aren't conscious choices but automatic responses from your subconscious? Would you believe it? Now, imagine that within you there's a silent supercomputer constantly processing information, influencing your behavior, emotions, and even the opportunities in your life. That's your subconscious, and it never sleeps. While your conscious mind is focused on what to do in the moment, your subconscious is storing everything, shaping your beliefs, and defining what you perceive as reality. But what if this programming is actually sabotaging you? Philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson once said something interesting. A man is what he thinks about all day long. Have you ever thought about that? If you spend your day worrying, expecting the worst, feeling incapable, guess what? Your subconscious buys into that idea and does everything it can to maintain that reality. It works like an extremely efficient butler who simply follows orders. The problem is, most of these orders come from past traumas, fears, and limiting beliefs, many of which you don't even remember anymore. The subconscious mind does not judge, filter, or think logically. It simply accepts what you feed it and executes. If, since childhood, you've heard phrases like, money is dirty, relationships are complicated, I'm terrible at math, your subconscious has recorded all of this as an unshakable truth. It doesn't know that these were just unimportant comments or fleeting experiences. To your subconscious, these words define who you are. And now, every time you try to move forward in some area of your life, this programming interferes and sabotages you. Psychologist Carl Jung said something powerful. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Have you ever thought about that? What seems like bad luck or fate might actually just be a pattern your subconscious keeps repeating without you realizing it. And the worst part, these patterns might be keeping you stuck in the same place without you even noticing. Have you ever decided to change your life? Start working out, learn a new language, open a business, only to give up after a few weeks without really understanding why? That's not a lack of willpower. It's your subconscious pulling you back to what it knows as safe. Your brain is programmed to save energy and maintain the status quo. That's why any real change must first happen in the subconscious mind. Otherwise, you will always be pulled back into old habits, like an invisible elastic band. Now, imagine what would happen if you could reprogram your subconscious to work in your favor. If it were trained to believe that you deserve success, that money is a positive tool, that your health is a priority, and that challenges are just stepping stones to growth. The big truth is that you are already being programmed all the time by society, the media, and your social circles. The question is, are you taking control of this programming, or are you letting it happen automatically? The good news is that there are proven ways to reprogram your subconscious and unlock your true potential. Because in the end, your subconscious mind is incredibly powerful. The question is, are you using this power to your advantage or against yourself? You might believe that you're in control of your life, but the truth is that most of the time, it's your subconscious mind that makes decisions for you. This process happens without you even realizing it. You don't consciously choose how to walk, breathe, or interpret facial expressions, just as you don't need to think before feeling fear, anger, or happiness in certain situations. All of this has already been programmed within you, and that programming began much earlier than you might imagine. Carl Jung once said, "The unconscious is the real history of mankind." That's because it stores absolutely everything. Every experience, every word you've ever heard, every emotion you've ever felt. Your subconscious is like a vast archive where every memory is kept, even those you have consciously forgotten. But the problem is that it doesn't just store information, it also dictates how you respond to the world. The irrational fear of public speaking, the insecurity when starting a new project, the emotional blocks in relationships. All of these may be reflections of past events stored in your subconscious without you even remembering them. If you grew up hearing that money is hard to come by, your subconscious will automatically reject opportunities that could lead you to prosperity. If someone told you as a child that you weren't good enough, you might spend your entire life avoiding challenges for fear of failure. And if the environment around you reinforced the idea that love always ends in pain, your subconscious may prevent you from trusting someone, even if consciously you desire a healthy relationship. The scariest part is that you don't even realize you're sabotaging yourself. You believe you're making rational decisions, but in reality, you're just following the silent script that has been written in your mind over the years. Psychologist William James stated that human beings can alter their lives by altering their mental attitudes. This means that if we want to change our reality, we first need to change the commands running in our subconscious. But how can we do that? First, it's essential to understand that your subconscious mind doesn't argue with you, nor does it question your beliefs. It simply accepts them as absolute truths. If you tell yourself every day that you're not capable of something, your mind will take that as a fact and shape your reality to make it true. But the opposite is also valid. If you feed your mind with messages of confidence, it will start acting according to this new truth. Neuroscience has proven that the brain has an incredible ability to adapt. This means that the programming imposed on you can be rewritten. Small habits, such as paying attention to your thoughts, questioning old beliefs, and practicing the repetition of new affirmations, can start to reshape the neural pathways that determine your automatic actions. The simple act of replacing a limiting belief with an empowering one can completely change how you perceive and respond to the world. If you don't become aware of what is programmed within you, your subconscious mind will continue to run your life on autopilot. But if you decide to take control, you can use this immense power to your advantage. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish between reality and imagination. Everything you tell yourself, everything you believe and feel repeatedly, is accepted as absolute truth. This means that if you've spent your life believing that you're not good enough, that you'll never have money, or that you don't deserve love, your subconscious mind will do everything it can to maintain that reality, because that's the programming it has received. But the great news is that this programming can be changed. And the first step toward that is understanding how your beliefs were formed. Since childhood, everything we've heard from our parents, teachers, and the people around us has built the foundation of our belief system. If someone repeatedly told you that you were shy, insecure, or untalented, you accepted it as a fact and reinforced that identity over the years without questioning it. But who said that was true? How many of these beliefs have you simply accepted without ever testing them? The emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This means that changing your mind means changing your life. If you want to transform your reality, you must first transform what you believe is possible for you. The brain operates in patterns. It repeats what it already knows because that conserves energy. If, for years, you have reinforced a negative belief, your subconscious continues searching for proof to validate it. It's as if your mind were a search engine programmed to always find evidence that confirms what you already believe. But what if instead you reprogram this system to seek evidence of your own potential? Science proves that neuroplasticity allows new neural pathways to be created through repetition and visualization. If you want to change your mental programming, you must feed your subconscious with new beliefs in a repetitive and emotionally engaging way. And this reprogramming can be done in various ways. Positive affirmations, when repeated daily, help create new neural connections. It's not enough to simply say mechanically that you are confident or successful. You need to feel it as if it were already real. The emotion associated with repetition is what solidifies new beliefs in the subconscious. Visualization is also a powerful tool. If you vividly imagine your success, your brain begins to accept that image as something familiar and possible. Studies show that athletes who mentally rehearse their competitions activate the same brain areas as those who physically train. This proves that your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. The more you see yourself in the future you desire, the more your mind starts working to turn that vision into reality. Another way to reprogram your mind is by changing your environment and the people you surround yourself with. Philosopher William James stated that the greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes of mind. But this change doesn't happen only inside your head. If you want to change your beliefs, you need to be around people who reinforce this new identity. You need to consume information that supports what you want to believe. If you spend your day listening to negative news, your mind will be filled with fears. But if you consume content that reinforces your growth, your subconscious mind will begin to accept it as the new reality. Reprogramming the subconscious requires consistency. It's not an instant process, but it doesn't have to take years either. Your brain can be intentionally shaped, but it needs repetition and emotional intensity for new connections to form. In the end, you are not your beliefs. You simply learn to believe them, and if they were learned, they can be unlearned and replaced. The subconscious mind is powerful, but you are the one giving the commands. If you've ever heard of the law of attraction, you might think it's just a mystical concept, something abstract with no real foundation. But the truth is, this idea has a much more scientific and psychological basis than you might imagine. Your subconscious mind is constantly filtering reality based on what you believe to be possible. What you think about most often becomes what you perceive in the world around you. Not because there's some magical force bringing things into your life, but because your brain operates with a focus system that highlights what it considers most relevant. William James, considered the father of modern psychology, stated that what you think determines to a large extent what you will become. This happens because the human brain has a mechanism called the Reticular Activating System, a kind of filter that decides which information is most important. The world around you contains an infinite number of stimuli, but your mind can only handle a fraction of them. So what happens? It focuses on what you reinforce the most. If your mind is constantly searching for reasons to believe you're not good enough, guess what it will find? On the other hand, if you train your brain to notice opportunities, it will start directing your attention to paths that previously went unnoticed. In this sense, the law of attraction isn't about wishing for something and waiting for the universe to deliver it. It's about training your subconscious mind to work in your favor. If you constantly see yourself failing, your subconscious mind takes that as a command and directs your actions to confirm that reality. But if you start visualizing your success, your mind will begin to look for ways to make it real. Neuroscience has already proven that the brain doesn't differentiate between a real event and an imagined one. That's why elite athletes mentally rehearse their competitions with the same intensity as physical training. This ensures that when the real moment comes, their bodies are already conditioned to react in the best possible way. The central issue is that your subconscious mind is always working, whether you realize it or not. The problem is that for most people, it reinforces fears, worries, and limiting beliefs. Have you ever noticed that when someone is convinced everything always goes wrong in their life, it actually seems to happen? Similarly, those who believe they can always find a way to solve any situation somehow manage to do so. This is no coincidence. It's the subconscious mind quietly operating to create a world that aligns with the beliefs it holds. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist persists." This explains why people who are constantly worried about debt continue to face financial problems, why those afraid of being betrayed often find themselves in relationships full of distrust, and why people who focus on avoiding failure end up stuck in it. Your subconscious mind doesn't understand negations. If you're constantly thinking, "I don't want to fail," your mind fixates on the word fail and leads you to act in alignment with that image. The key is to direct your focus toward what you want, not what you wish to avoid. This means that if you want to transform your reality, you must start with how you speak to yourself, how you envision your future, and the stories you tell about yourself. Your words and thoughts are not just reflections of your life, but tools that shape the reality you experience. It all begins in the subconscious mind, and it is there that true change happens. Everything discussed so far points to a single truth. You are not a hostage to circumstances, but rather to what you believe about yourself. Your subconscious is like a garden, and whatever you plant in it, whether positive or negative, will inevitably grow. The question is, have you been feeding your mind with beliefs that empower you, or with limitations that imprison you? The power of the subconscious is available to everyone, yet most people live on autopilot, repeating the same patterns without realizing that they could rewrite their own story. Erich Fromm once said, "If a person wishes to have security in life, that security can only be found in the pursuit of self-knowledge." And that is the ultimate key to transforming your reality. If you want to change your life, you must start by changing your mind. It's not just about thinking positively or repeating motivational phrases. It's about training your mind to accept a new identity, a new way of existing. Your subconscious accepts any command you give it, but those commands need to be repeated and felt with emotional intensity. You can tell yourself, "I am a successful person," 1,000 times, but if deep down you feel it isn't true, your subconscious will keep reinforcing the opposite belief. Reprogramming the mind requires practice and consistency. Even small changes in the way you speak to yourself can have a profound impact. Pay attention to how you describe yourself daily. If every time you make a mistake you say, "I'm an idiot," your subconscious registers that and reinforces the idea that you are not intelligent. If you constantly affirm that you are anxious, lazy, or unlucky, your mind will do everything it can to prove that belief true. But if, on the other hand, you start telling yourself that you are disciplined, creative, and resilient, your subconscious will begin working to align your actions with this new identity. Another essential factor is surrounding yourself with an environment that reinforces the new version of yourself that you want to create. This means being more intentional about the content you consume, the people you spend the most time with, and the activities you engage in daily. If your routine is filled with stimuli that reinforce limiting beliefs, changing your mindset will be difficult. But if you begin feeding your mind with ideas that expand your potential, your subconscious will start accepting this new reality as your truth. And finally, one of the most important factors, emotion. Nothing becomes imprinted on the subconscious mind without an emotional impact. Your most memorable experiences, whether positive or negative, are those that stirred intense emotions. This means that to change your mental programming, you need to involve emotion in the process. When you visualize a goal, feel as if it's already real. When you repeat an affirmation, speak with conviction. When you imagine the person you want to become, act as if you are already that person. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what is real and what is imagined, but it responds to emotion with incredible power. In the end, the question isn't whether your subconscious has power. It already does, and always has. The real question is, are you taking control of that power, or are you letting it run on autopilot? You can continue living the same patterns, or you can decide today to rewrite your story. And it all starts within your mind. What you choose to believe about yourself will inevitably become your reality. If there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's that your subconscious mind is, and always has been, the silent force shaping your life. You can look at your reality and see coincidences, chance, or destiny, but at its core, everything is a reflection of what your mind believes is possible. You can't control everything that happens in the world around you, but you can control how you react, how you perceive, and most importantly, how you program yourself for the life you want to live. Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." And this might be the greatest lesson of all. As long as you keep seeking change solely in the external world, waiting for life to change so you can change, you'll remain stuck in the same cycles. But the moment you decide to look within and rewrite the beliefs that govern your subconscious mind, everything begins to transform. If this video made sense to you, it's not a coincidence. Perhaps it's time to pause and ask yourself, what has my subconscious mind been reinforcing over the years? What stories about myself have I accepted without realizing it? What do I believe to be impossible but only seems impossible because my mind has been trained to think that way? This is the moment to change direction, to start feeding your mind with beliefs that empower you rather than limit you. And for that, I want to invite you to take action. Grab a piece of paper and write down 3 beliefs you've noticed are holding you back. They could be things like, "I never finish what I start," or "I'm not good with money." Now, next to each one, write the opposite version, the belief you want to start embracing. Repeat these new statements to yourself every day. And more than that, feel them. The power of your mind lies in what you repeatedly feed it. If this content helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Leave a comment below letting me know the biggest insight you had from this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because this could be the first step to reprogramming your mind for success. If you're ready to dive even deeper into this transformation, watch the video that's now appearing on the screen. In it, I reveal one of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to change their mindset and how to avoid it, but only watch it if you're truly committed to this change. Your subconscious mind is incredibly powerful. The question is, will you continue to be controlled by it, or will you finally take charge?